Welcome to Watches with Dennis, and today I'm reviewing Breguet's Classique 5177BA. This watch is from my personal collection. It was purchased used, and I've owned it about a week at this point. Founded by Abraham Louis Breguet in 1775, Breguet is one of the oldest existing watchmaking brands. While it does offer a few watches in the sports line, Breguet is broadly known for dress watch models such as the Classique line. Let's go ahead and take some measurements. According to my calipers, this watch is 38.4 millimeters in diameter. It is 45.2 millimeters from lug to lug. It is only 8.8 millimeters thick, and the watch has a lug width of 20 millimeters. This watch offers 30 meters of water resistance. The watch case is made of 18-karat yellow gold, as is the buckle on the alligator strap. Screws are used to secure the buckle to the strap and the strap to the watch, rather than the typical spring bars. As for the case, it features cold-rolled coined flanks with lugs that are welded onto the case. The crown is branded. Looking at the face of the watch, the first thing of note is the dial. It is made of solid gold, which is ultimately coated in silver and then coated again to prevent the silver from developing a patina. However, before that silver process can happen, the dial must have its patterns cut into it. A rose lathe was used to cut the dial, most notably in this example in the creation of the basket weave guilloche pattern occupying the bulk of the dial face. Roman numerals for the hours exist near the chapter ring, with the 12 o'clock being flanked by the secret Breguet signature on both sides. At the 3 o'clock position is a step-down aperture which displays the date, which has a silvered background to complement the dial. The hands are steel and heat blued and are in the Breguet style. The crown is not a screw-down crown, so in position 0 it does allow for hand winding of the movement. In position 1 you can quick set the date, and in position 2 the watch hacks and you can set the time. This watch has a display caseback which reveals the Breguet caliber 777Q movement. This is a 4 Hz unidirectional automatic movement that has 26 joules and offers approximately 55 hours of power reserve. The balance, lever, and escape wheel are silicone. The rotor is gold and also cut on a rose lathe. The movement is hand-finished and offers impressive Côte de Genève done via abrasive wheel. The screws and jewel sinks are mirrored on their rims, and the screw heads themselves are black polished. Mirrored anglage also appears along the edges of the bridges. According to my time grapher, I get an average reading across all 6 positions of plus 7.3 seconds per day, with a range of plus 2 seconds per day to plus 12 seconds per day. Here you can see what the watch looks like on my wrist. My wrist size is approximately 6.75 inches. And here is some additional footage of me wearing the watch in natural light. So, what are my overall thoughts on this watch? I'd say the positives are it has a stunning dial, it has a well-finished movement, and the watch is comfortable to wear. And the one negative I have is that the rotor wobble is noticeable. As could be seen throughout this footage, this is a used model. There are numerous scratches and swirls that exist in the gold case in particular. And these watches used can be had well under half of what they tend to go for retail. And numerous examples, at least when I was looking, appeared on the used market, so they weren't very hard to find. Back to my negatives, or my one negative, it's really only about the rotor. The rotor's beautiful to look at, but as a unidirectional winding system, there often is a tendency for there to be a wobble when the rotor moves in the non-winding direction. Sometimes you can notice this, sometimes you don't really notice this. In this particular watch, you can notice it quite easily, probably because the watch is so thin. I don't just feel the rotor wobble, but in quiet rooms, I can even hear it. I do not like noticing the rotor on a watch moving around. This is not the most extreme scenario of any watch I've ever owned. In fact, I would rate it a little bit under what I've experienced with the automatic rotor winding system on Grand Seiko's spring drive watches, or at least the one that I owned. But it is worth noting in case this sort of thing also bothers you. But the positives of the watch are great. The guilloche work on the dial is incredible. This is arguably the most attractive dial of any watch I have ever owned. The handcrafted and hand-finished aspects are really standouts, especially when you consider how much these watches go for used versus what other watches you can find and what their finishing is at a similar price point. I wasn't sure how well the watch would wear either, given the shape of the lugs isn't one that I was ever really familiar with before, but it is quite comfortable. I think the thinness of the watch does it a lot of favors in that regard, but even the lugs do seem to work well for me. Thanks for watching this review video. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like as it helps the channel out. Subscribe if you'd like to be automatically notified when I release new videos. Thanks for watching and have a great day.